Hello, everybody. It's part two. If you caught part one and you're listening to part two, you believe what I'm saying. I want to make this clear. In Ezekiel 46 and 47, it talks about a kitchen where they boil water to make food to feed the priesthood. And if you believe there was running water where the priest's kitchen was, or they got running, moving water, a spring, not a pool of dead water, rainwater in a cistern, or a pool from the rain, collected water, but running water, a stream, a creek that went from ankle deep to knee deep to thigh deep to so deep you couldn't cross it, and then you could swim in it. So we're talking about moving water that turns into a river of life. Now we're talking Ezekiel 46 and 47, and the enemy's so mad at what I'm presenting right here after 6 minutes of teaching, and usually I can teach to 10 to 14 minutes, he shut my phone off. That's why I'm doing part two. I read and I said, go to the high end of the Gihon Springs. It is fed from an underground lake. Apparently, there are men that study that special kind of a lake, and they found 2 or 3 or 4 of them in the whole world. Well, just so happens Jerusalem, the only moving water spring in the old city Jerusalem or in the city of David, is still in its exact location. If we enclose it, if we change the direction of the Gihon Springs, like the king did when the Assyrian army was coming, it used to run out and feed the valley below and water crops. Well, he built a wall around it, chiseled a tunnel for 1,700 feet plus. They met in the middle, and he changed the direction of the flow of the underground spring. Now we're going to deal with direction here to locate the door, the threshold, and the steps of the temple. And how do we do that? We go to the source at the high end, the source end of the Gihon Springs. We enclose it with a metal box with a door to open back up to the existing springs, but we're going to close that box off. It's going to fill up. We're going to put a 6-inch tube out the top, straight up, till it comes out of the ground, straight above the source of the Gihon Springs. And even though we're speaking spiritual, that Ezekiel was taken to the temple door, the threshold, the steps, and out from the threshold on the east-south corner ran a spring of moving water. Even if it's spiritual at this point, when you build it, you've got to have the running, moving water south of the altar. That's what the scripture says. My point is, if you drill that 6-inch tube straight up and where it comes out of the ground, you're at the door, the threshold, the steps on the southeast corner of the steps, south of the altar, in the temple grounds at the corner of the threshold of the steps of the temple door. And it might be in the threshing floor south of the south wall of what exists now, which was a Roman fortress that looked down upon the temple area. And when they destroyed the temple area and tore it all the way down to the ground, they even dug down in the ground and leveled the ground and the hill that the temple was on and toted it off and filled other valleys. They didn't want a high place there that people would guess that the temple was on a high hill or a small mountain top where a threshing floor was. You run that tube straight out of the ground, I think you have the east-south corner of the steps to the door to the temple, where the priests, plural, many, would wash and clean and go in and do their daily chores in the outer in front of the holiest of holies. But it was the door to the temple where the water ran out. And check this out. You could walk through the Gihon Springs ankle deep, thigh deep, knee deep, calf deep, maybe even up to your hips till it gets into a pool that you can wash in, maybe set in, or kids can swim in. And spiritually speaking, that's what the water did that came out from the spiritual temple at the door, at the threshold, at the steps, south of the altar. It went from ankle deep to thigh deep to knee deep, all right, calf deep to knee deep to thigh deep, to a river that couldn't be crossed and something you could swim in. Back to closing off the source, the high place of the Gihon Springs. Make a box and a 6-inch tube straight up till it comes out of the ground. I believe you have the door to the temple, the southeast corner of the threshold to the door to the temple, the southeast steps to the door to the temple. This is another 6-minute teaching, part 2. If you hear this, please get this to the geologists, the people that are digging up the place of the old city of David, south of the south wall. Get to the Gihon Springs, south of the south wall, to the source, and go straight up through the ground. You got the door to the temple. Love ya. This is B.E.B.J. Eugene Bear speaking to you spiritually and telling you where to dig, what to do, and how to do it. Love you. Bye.